This section we are going to see how to add a new wallpaper. So what I want to do is this. We need to have a view category screen, right? So when users click, right, they will be able to, when they click on category name, we are going to take them to the view category screen. So from there, they will now be able to select the category that they want, and then they can do what they want to do. All right. So I'm supposed to handle this in the previous section. Okay. So now that we have our so now that we have our categories, users should be able to view categories, right? So we have our we have category screen. So I'll need to work on this screen now so that users will be able to view their categories. All right. So we're going to go over to where we have our category, and we have our category screen. So inside here, I'm going to create category screen dot. Okay. So inside this category screen that I'm just going to build out the UI for our categories, okay? And so it's going to have it's going to be a stateful widget, right? We have category so we have our category screen, category screen actually, and we have to like return, just build out the category so that users will be able to view their categories. So I'm going to create think it's going to be similar with what we already have previously. So let's say we have a scaffold widget, right? From here we have the we can just create the body, and now I have my padding, and we have edge inset. So we have 10, okay. Oops. All right, so we have our list view. So the list view, we're just going to have all the items that we need. So I'm going to use children list.generate. Okay, let's just use like 6 for now. Just like me building out the UI, okay? So we have return. So what I'm going to show here instead is when you go to our category screen, you're going to see how our category preview widget is, which is basically what we are going to be using. So I'm going to copy this, go back here and paste it here, right? So make sure you remove this const to fix all those errors, and we are going to import these colors. So this state.this, let's just leave it as empty for now. So this is just going to be the category name, okay? So if you save it up, it's not going to show, right? Because we have not really mapped the category properly when you click. So let's go back to our home, our root provider, right? Inside here, we have the category, which is more like the second screen. I'm going to change this guy to category screen, save it. And so when we do hot restart, we should be able to see our category. All right. So that is it for the category UI. You can see now how our category is showing, right? We are supposed to show the image and the list of all the categories that are available. So with that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new method that we can use to get like the category provider that we created. We need to be able to fetch our categories, okay? So with that, I'm going to go over to, we have our provider. So this is going to be like view category, okay? Let's just call it category provider.dat, okay? So here we have the abstract class that we just show to fetch categories, okay? Then secondly, we have our class that says category provider, right? And we are going to extend change notifier, right? And we are going to have a category here. Then we just implement it, and also we are going to add a list of category model. Remember, this category is going to come in form of a list, and we already created a model for this already, right? Previously in the last section. So we already created a model for this, right? Which is our category model, right? It's going to be a list of category model, and we have our category instance, so we can fetch it from the Firebase, right? Then here we have our message and our I do. So I'm just going to import, like create this implementation, and here I'm just going to start integrating the other logic. So first thing first, what we need to do is to add a busy overlay whenever user is trying to fetch the category, right? And remember I told you that I normally like creating a view state. Okay, so I have my view state here. All right, so inside here, and I'm going to add my try and catch, and also catch the exception for when it's so we have our try, and we're going to catch for Firebase exception and also our catch exception. So the first thing I want to do is to fetch data from Firebase, which is we are going to await this and then call the category ref, right, dot get. So this is going to get all the items in the category model if it exists. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do, because I want to pass this into a model, I usually create a temp category model list, right? Because when data is coming from Firebase, it's coming like a map of string, right? It's not coming as the model that we say that we have already. So we need to pass that properly. So I'm going to check first if the result dot docs, right, dot is, if it's not empty, right? So if it's not empty, I'm going to loop through the result, right? Whatever we have in database. So I'm going to loop through it, okay? So I have like I in result.docs, okay? And then I'm going to pass it into the temp list dot add, okay? So I have my category model, right? Dot from JSON. Okay, then I can now do i.data, which is the data that is already in Firebase. Then from there, I'm now going to assign it to the category list that we have. This is the category. Okay, I think it's final, so we need to remove this final keyword. So now we have that. Once it's there, we can now set the view state equal to view state dot success, and then you can now call the update state. Okay, cool. Everything is looking pretty now. We have our fetch category, right? But something else is wrong because we need to save, like we need to register this. Okay, so we have our category provider. Okay, save that, and now we have our category. We can now go back to our category screen. So inside our category screen, we need to like fetch that category. Okay, so I usually do something by having I have a init state. So whenever users come to this screen for the first time, we are going to call a method to just get categories. Okay, like so. So I'm just going to create that method, right? So inside this method is also going to be a sync. So it's going to call the state, which is going to be our provider, right? Dot off contest. Then we're going to call the category provider, right? Then we call contest and make sure you set listing to false. Okay, so once that is set, we can now await the method, and then we can call fetch category. Okay, here we can now check if the category, like if the state dot view state is equal to error, right? If there was an error when we are trying to fetch the data, we can just show users that error by checking if the state is already mounted, like the contest is mounted. Then we can call show message, and right, we can now call the state dot message. All right, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we are calling this method here in the init state. Okay, so here now, once the user comes to this screen, we need to like check if the state is empty or not, right? But before that, I think we need to wrap this guy with a consumer widget, and then we can call the category provider, and here we can have our consumer, right? And we can call the state and child. Okay, and don't forget also to wrap this guy with a busy overlay, okay, because it will help us to show the error properly. So we have view.viewState equal to viewState.busy. Okay, so once that is done, we also need to handle some other things. So when the category is empty and view state is equal to success, right, then we need to show a message that hey, no category is available, right? users need to be aware of that. So now we have this. I need to import our empty widget. I think we don't have empty widget class for now. So we have if state.categories.empty, we have to be and state.viewState is success, we need to return the empty widget, right? So we have the no available categories, right? So we have to create this empty widget. So it's something we're going to be using throughout the app in case the user does not have any product or no category or whatsoever, right? We need to show that. So I'm going to go to our shared directory where we have this. Inside our widget, I'm going to create empty widget. So I already have that. So we have to have this guy here. So this is what happens. It's more like a stateless widget, okay? So in the stateless widget, we have remember we already added assets into here. We can see there are empty assets, okay? So we have our assets that takes the image, and we have the height, and then the text, which is more like the title we created from the constructor, okay? So here now we can just import it and then pass the title, which says no available wallpaper. All right. So now what we are going to do here now is to let me go back and just return back to the screen. You can see it's showing busy overlay, and then we have our data, right? But if, let's say for instance, there is no data, right? Let's just say there is no data. Let's say if it's not empty. Okay, let's just say if it's not empty, something is wrong. Okay, if it's not empty, you can see what is showing no available categories. Okay, so now we can return it how it was before. Okay, so now there is data because we already have two categories, right? So I need to make these things show properly. State.categories.length. All right, and then here now, since we already have this guy, it's no longer going to be a file image, right? It's now going to be a cached network image provider, right? So we're going to put that here. Make sure you import the cached network image provider. Then right here, we are going to create data final category, right, equal to state.categories, and we can put the index. So we can now pass the category name, right? You can see it's going to show, and we can have the category name. This way, even if we go out and come back, it's not going to show the loading for the image because it has already been cached. Okay, then we can now have category name. Okay, so remove this const, and we can have our category name sitting pretty. Awesome. And you can see how it's looking pretty. So all right, so let's save this guy, and when we click, nothing is happening. But if we go back, come here, right, nothing is happening. So in the next section, we are going to add wallpaper. You guys are going to see how it is.